is rogue. It is just
It's
off the
Airbox.
shelf common hardware.
Oh, here we go. It's common hardware, man. You trying to say that ain't nothing special, man? It's just common, you know. I mean, come on, bro. You just mad because PlayStation didn't make you a portable? Yes, they did. It's called the PlayStation Portal, where we stream all old games on a streaming device. Bro, what's wrong with this dude, man? I thought you was a PlayStation channel. Why you sitting out here talking about everybody?
That Microsoft plans to do, and I think it's going to carry over to that console. I can see this handheld being the test bed for that strategy.
This man ain't nothing but a clown, G. I mean, come on, man. The test bed, you know. I mean, it clearly looks like Sony ain't testing anything. When is the last time they ever gave you a game, huh? Oh, that's right. You're playing Xbox titles on your PlayStation. Paying $70 full price for the same games that you can essentially get free through one subscription service. Yeah, I'm starting to think that you people are some of the biggest dummies in this gaming community.
Now, I mentioned in previous videos and when I talked about this, that the advantage for Microsoft is they're trying to get out of the hardware business. And what I mean by getting out of the hardware business is trying to make these custom consoles that they keep losing money on.
What do you think the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are? Custom consoles. Essentially restricted PCs. You acting like Sony's out here creating motherboards and chips. What are you talking about, bro? Both of these consoles are manufactured by AMD, bro. The only difference between your PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X is essentially based off the symbol. That is literally the only difference, or should I say the operating system that you brought up. The PlayStation 5 has its own operating system as well as Xbox. So the fact that you say that Xbox will be everywhere shows you that Microsoft has came in and even took it over your own ecosystem as well as your own platform. And from what I heard, I'm hearing that PlayStation 6 might run off Windows operating system. So that you say that Microsoft wants to go everywhere, which would also mean that Microsoft will have some control, no different than what they tried. You know what's crazy? Microsoft tried to do this with Sega with the Sega Dreamcast. Right? With putting online on that console. That's why if you notice it has Windows operating system before you turn it on. Oh yeah. They were really trying to screw Sega over with that. So if anything, you guys should be more afraid that Microsoft's doing that than leaving the home console gaming market. Because once Microsoft does that, your PlayStation 5 or whatever PlayStation device Sony ever decides to make ain't going to be nothing but another Xbox, because it's going to either run the same operating system or you're going to be playing the same games but at a higher price. I mean, at the end of the day, man, these consoles are going to be the same. Except the one difference, Microsoft and what they provide is going to provide more value to their consumer base. And the ones that want to continue to be fanboys, well, you're going to pay more for those experiences.
Because no one's really buying them. So instead, they're going to focus on the software.
Yeah, just like nobody's buying the PSVR 1, PSVR 2, and the PlayStation Portal. Let's talk about the sales on that.
Is their Windows operating system. Think of it this way. How did Windows become the most popular operating system in the world? Or not even the most popular, but the most widely used. It's because it's on every device. Devices that Microsoft themselves did not make. Dell made the computers and laptops. Asus, Acer, Lenovo. Think of every hardware manufacturer that makes PCs and laptops. They made the hardware. Microsoft provided an operating system.
And how is that good? Because that also means that PlayStation and the rest of everybody else is going to be essentially a part of the Microsoft ecosystem. That's why if you notice, Microsoft got you making Xbox accounts just so you can play Minecraft. Now, mind you, this has always happened in Forza, but it shows you where gaming is going. So when everything is said and done, you're not going to be able to carry your catalog of PlayStation games, because I honestly believe Sony don't really care about the longevity or the preservation of their games. I think Microsoft cares a little bit more, but that's probably due to the fact that they have the PC vision in mind, right? So even if their console does cease to exist, your games will be carried over to the PC compartment. Now, Sony, considering that you're saying that they're a hardware manufacturer, they do their own things, well, when people lose the idea of a console, where do you think the rest of your library is going to go? Just buy them again on Steam, guys. You know, they're going to be locked to the console, and, 10, 15 years down the road, you want to play some games and enjoy them with your grandchildren. Just rebuy them again, because you don't have smart delivery. You don't have the aspect of buying the version on console and still having access to the version on PC. See, these are things that only Xbox is doing because they're smart. You guys think that because we're locking it to one platform, that's bad actually, because if you really believe in the concept of next generation consoles with PS6, 7, 8, then that means those games will be locked to that console, which also means that you will lose access to the games. You really think they're going to make a PS6, 7, and 8, and 9 have it backwards compatible all the way to PlayStation 5? Come on, bro. Like, I mean, let's be realistic here, man. I think you people are not thinking about where gaming is heading, and I think that's the problem with these type of videos.
And I think, as I mentioned, Microsoft is trying to take that strategy to the gaming side. And I think they're going to start with the handheld because that's probably the least volatile out of all the hardware peripherals that they would make. It's pretty simple. Have Asus, who's already making the Asus ROG Ally, rebranded as an Xbox whatever project.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what the PS5 is. It's a piece of AMD hardware labeled as a PlayStation. Same thing with the Xbox Series X. AMD hardware, AMD architecture, labeled as an Xbox. So you essentially proved how stupid the concept of a console really is. Because at the end of the day, you know what a real console being manufactured is? A console being manufactured by the parts that are made by the company that is making your console. Oh, that's an Xbox sound chip. That's an Xbox mother. PlayStation ain't even doing that. PlayStation ain't even making their own hardware, bro. All they doing is using custom chips, just essentially custom chips that they're modifying from PC to make them fit in the console. That is it. All your console is nothing but a restrictive PC, bro. Locked to an ecosystem. That's exactly what your console is.
They ultimately named the device, and it's a Windows device, and you have it. There you go.
So if it's a Windows device, that would also make it an Xbox because it's using their operating system. So technically you're saying that it's not about who makes the console, it's about what operating system the platform, I guess, uses, right? Is that what I want to understand the definition of what people use to differentiate as to what makes it the Xbox, what makes it the PS5. I would sit there and go as far as to say that if it uses Microsoft's, like you said, operating system, that would most definitely make it an Xbox, no matter if it's not even made by Microsoft. No different than PlayStation. What defines a PlayStation? Its operating system. You know, did I really just break it down for y'all? Like, you know what, people buy like games, so you know, that's kind of a good point. It really is, because they both use the same hardware. They're practically identical. But what really they essentially play the same games, besides maybe a few locked games away from each other. But other than that, they're the same thing. But what really differentiates them from each other? The operating system. So the fact that you say that Microsoft wants to go everywhere with that, that's actually bad. If you really don't like Microsoft, you would prefer them to stay in the console market, because if that happens, because I'm hearing the PlayStation 6 might be using Windows operating system. So what would end up happening to you? Is it still a PlayStation, even if it has Windows operating system? Is it still a PlayStation at that point? I'm just saying, man, I'm just going based off his logic, like I said, but that's what I've been hearing. But if it doesn't happen, it's fine. But I'm just trying to understand what are people using to help differentiate what makes these consoles what they are.
And depending on how the outcome that goes, they're going to do the very same thing with the Xbox console. On that shell, it's going to look like a console. It'll probably have the UI of a console, but in reality, the internal guts, and my prediction is going to be the same type of guts you get in a laptop.
Oh, bro, you downplaying it, bro. Come on now. Come on, bro. Like, stop the downplay, bro. What did you say? Oh, it's going to be equivalent to a laptop. That definitely sounds a lot better than what you got with the Portal. I mean, I'll say that much. At least that's some real hardware there, not some streaming device where you can stream your PlayStation games to this little portable.
So pretty much what you get in a gaming laptop, that's pretty much what you're going to get in an Xbox console. And if you play...
You got to be kidding me. Now, if you wanted to sit there and use that argument for the portable, that's fine. I mean, it's still kind of like disingenuous. But you're essentially saying that the new Xbox that's potentially coming out is going to be powerful as your laptop? Come on, bro. Please cut the cap, bro. See, this is what I'm telling you guys, man. Y'all didn't catch that? See, I catch everything. Listen.
It's going to be the same type of guts you get in a laptop. So pretty much what you
So the new Xbox is going to be the same type of guts that you get in a laptop. So that would also mean that the PlayStation is getting the same type of guts then, because why is it next generation? I mean, I know you're looking at your lousy little laptop and assuming that that's what Microsoft's going to give you with their new Xbox, but I mean, come on, Puertorock, you're clearly losing the plot right now. What are you even talking about? I know after he just said, he's like, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Gaming laptop, that's pretty much what you're going to get in an Xbox console.
You know, y'all like games. I know you. I'm speechless. I don't know.
And if you played on a gaming laptop before, I have one. You're not good.
Well, your gaming laptop ain't any good, man. It's probably no different than your brother buying Walmart PCs for $800, man. I mean, come on, bro. There's one thing I know about the Rock family is that you guys are cheap.
Gaming laptops are not good at all. But why would Microsoft go with this approach? It's like I said, they fail at hardware. So custom hardware, custom consoles, they're not good at it because no one's really buying them. And that's the worst part of their business. This allows them to finally leave the console business while trying to pretend.
I don't think Microsoft's going to just outright leave the console business as long as, I mean, if they're getting 30 million concurrent players through Game Pass Ultimate, even though people might say that's minuscule, that is still a lot of money being made here. I think you guys are completely denouncing that. So if you think about it, if they get rid of that aspect, right, Microsoft is not really bringing in that $5 to $6 billion they're making every year. So it doesn't sound very lucrative to them. Of course, they're going to continue to keep the console around as long as those Game Pass members still stay there. But if they start going down, 30 million, 10 million, and they're not making the same amount of money while they're investing that money into bigger projects and games, then yes, of course, I can see what he's saying. But just because they don't have as many console sales as the PS5 doesn't necessarily mean that Microsoft is doing bad. If anything, they're making more money through Game Pass Ultimate than Sony is by selling you their own exclusive games.
They're still in the console business, right? So this handheld, this Project Kenon, is their test bed. They're going to release it. Asus is going to manufacture it. And you best believe it's not going to come cheap. It will not be subsidized.
Well, right? I'll make sure I'll buy two.
Microsoft is not going to lose money. Asus is not going to lose money wherever you sell this. It's going to be sold for profit.
That's perfect.
And Asus will.
And I'm going to buy two of them.
Profitable. So expect these handhelds to be $600, $700, $800, similarly priced as their Rogue Ally. Now, another thing that's been mentioned, and by Judge Gordon is this. This will not be backwards compatible with your library games on the console.
What?
Now, if you bought your games on the Windows Store and stuff, then yeah, pretty much if you could play it on PC, you'll be able to play it on this device. But that's about it.
Yeah. And also the games that are provided through Game Pass Ultimate. Now, I know what he's talking about. You're talking about the original Xbox and 360 games. Well, it's not like you're playing PS3 games or PS1 and 2 games all natively on your PlayStation. So why would that be so much of a pain for Xbox owners? You're essentially saying that Xbox One and Series X owners ain't going to be able to carry their catalog to this new device, which is clearly not true. Like, you need to stop the cap. Now, if we're talking about 360 and original Xbox, but even then, Puertorock, you're better than that. We could just emulate them on that new little custom PC box that they got. So, technically speaking, nothing was really lost in the process.
But some of the backwards compatibility games that can only be played on the console, that's not coming after.
Well, it's been like that on PC. So, I really don't see the argument. I'm going to sit there and say, Don Matrix, buy yourself a 360.
That's not going. Just
get a 360. You want an offline device, buy an Xbox 360. Don Matrix, I don't know how this man, he said that so long ago, but guess what? He's right. You want that experience? Well, buy a 360.
Listen, I mentioned this before. The Xbox community really, really should focus more on their future with the brand.
Yeah, and the PlayStation fanboy community should focus on their brand so we can actually get some ambitious games coming out from Sony. But instead, you're talking about Xbox, even though you never played on one.
Really ask themselves if Microsoft's trustworthy with hardware going forward.
Now, why would you care if they're trustworthy if you don't even play on the platform? See, this is why people make fun of you guys. Like, how do you think about it, bro? I'm a PlayStation fanboy that talks more about Xbox than you talk about Sony. Y'all can sit there and say, oh, and project. Oh, when you do the same thing, you're an Xbox fanboy. That, hold on, let me make it even better. You're an Xbox fanboy, and all you do is talk about PlayStation. I have a PlayStation, so I could talk about what the hell I want. That's the difference. Until you buy an Xbox, maybe you can decide to open your mouth. But I could talk about whatever I want because I own all the platforms that I want to sit there and play and enjoy. You don't. So for you people to say that I'm not involved, I can't speak on PlayStation, I can speak on what I want because I own one. So therefore I can speak on the device because I went out there and purchased one and bought games for it.
And make the decision, is it really worth staying on Xbox? Maybe PC is the way to go for you guys, maybe not. If Game Pass is what you like and you still have consoles, then you could risk it. But you have to really ask yourself.
Wait, what are you talking about? Risking what? What do you mean risk? You acting like this is like bro, it's not that serious, man. Oh, you're gonna risk it?
If Microsoft produces new hardware, a new console, let's say 2027, which is what Jess Gordon is predicting is going to be released. Microsoft releases a new console in 2027. Do you have faith in the OEM strategy? Do you have faith?
Yes, I will buy 2 of them.
In faith in a Dell Xbox, an Asus Xbox, an Acer Xbox.
Does that really matter? It's still an Xbox. That's like getting mad. Oh, I got a Panasonic 3DO. Which one you got? I got a Gold Star 3DO. Oh, okay. They're both 3DOs. They both play the same. Remember, games to one another. Remember how I broke it down to you that essentially that's what Microsoft's going to be doing with a lot of their new consoles. Essentially, they're going to they might even have their own brand. It's going to be Xbox brand, whatever he's saying, Acer, whatever, Samsung, whoever decides to manufacture their own box. But guess what? It's all going to be labeled an Xbox. So Microsoft was right. Everything is an Xbox because that's exactly where everything is going. You people are like, oh, snap. Now I'm starting to understand what Phil and everybody at Microsoft is saying. Just like with the whole, would you say a Sega 32, not a Sega 30, would you say a Sega CDX is not a Sega platform? You play Sega games on it. Would you sit there and go as far to say, but it's made by JVC XI. It's made by JVC though. But it plays Sega CD and it plays Genesis games. It's still a Genesis. I broke this down for y'all. No different than a Panasonic Q in Japan. Are you going to sit there and say it's not a GameCube because it's manufactured by Panasonic? Listen to yourself, people. Are you going to essentially say that the PS5 is not a PS5 because it's manufactured by AMD? So the PS5 is just a placeholder? It really should be called AMD? Bruh, I'm tired of this, bro. This is why you guys put so much attachment to the platform when I'm telling you it doesn't really matter in the end. Who cares what it's called? As long as it's an Xbox.
A Lenovo Xbox. All these random OEM Xboxes with different configurations and different specs.
Bruh, clearly. And the funny thing is, didn't you come from the old school? What do you don't understand? Like I've said before, is a Panasonic 3DO any different than a Gold Star 3DO? Yeah, maybe some might offer a few more additional features. Oh, you know what? I got a better one because I have these. Is a V Saturn, is a Samsung or a Hitachi Saturn, are those different? No, they all play Sega Saturn games. Why are y'all complaining? Y'all sound stupid complaining about this. Oh, you guys really care about that? Sega did it with the Sega Saturn. Y'all like, yo, Gamester, you're right. I forgot about that. Did that completely take away the fact that Samsung manufactured the Sega Saturn? Did it take away from the Model 1, the Model 2 version that the Sega did? No, because they were both still Sega Saturns. Who cares where the platform was manufactured? As long as it's a Sega Saturn, or in this case, an Xbox, who cares who is manufactured? You talk about, there's no such thing as a publishing war. Well, I'm going to sit there and tell you that there's no such thing as a manufacturing war. Who cares? As long as it can play Xbox games, I think that's all that really matters to most people.
Do you really think your Xbox is going to be an optimized console?
So you're essentially saying that the Samsung Saturn and the Hitachi Saturn and the V Saturn, they were not optimal consoles. They all played the same. They were just manufactured differently. from different companies. It's the same thing, bro. Like, why? Like, how are you people not understanding this, man? This is what I don't get. You got so many people that use different PCs. Or you know what? Let me break it down again. You have so many people that use different types of PCs, right? But guess what? They all use Steam. They all have access to the same things that other. You know what, bro? Just go ahead, bro. This dude is
additional console.
He's not getting it.
And how long with these OEM companies?
There's nothing going on in that little eggshell of his.
Continue to make them, because they could start out like, yeah, Lenovo, Dell, and all them. They launched the first Xbox, maybe a second one, but then they realized, console gamer, you really want to do your research and really ask yourself, how dedicated is Microsoft to the console, or just they're trying to find an easy way out? But that's the question.
So I guess Nintendo found an easy way out when they asked Panasonic to manufacture a GameCube. If anything, that's going to get more Xboxes in homes. Because now Microsoft's going to have, like you said, different variations of essentially what is essentially an Xbox, which all runs through their operating system, which would be Windows, which would also mean that there's more Xboxes in home to where they can push their games. So you see how because Sony's trying to expand their gaming division as well. That's why they're putting their games on PC for regions like Africa and China. See, Microsoft's like, okay, we know this. Now we're going to work with these manufacturers, the manufacturers that Sony could have worked with potentially, and they're going to be manufacturing boxes the way we want them. So when Samsung decides to do, like, let's say a combo thing, a box with a Blu-ray player, and it's an Xbox. You can play Xbox. Microsoft gets the dub. It doesn't say PlayStation app on it. It says Xbox. Y'all didn't peep that when they started doing that with TVs by putting Game Pass. Remember they did it with Samsung by putting Game Pass on the TV? Yeah, bro, you're not realizing it, bro. They're not realizing the future. That's what it is. They're just looking at it for face value for right now. 75 million sales. That's the problem. You're looking at it, from the straight. You're not looking at the future of where gaming is heading. You get what I'm saying? The fact that you're saying that there's going to be this many different versions of Xbox, which is also going to mean that it's going to overshadow what PlayStation is doing with their own box, which is essentially going to mean that even though Microsoft might not be fully manufacturing these platforms, they are helping with these consoles, but that means there's going to be more Xboxes out there because there's more ways to play their games than there is to play PlayStation. What do you don't understand, which is only going to make their business more successful? Bro, I'm done, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, bro, when you guys look at things like a Fanboy, this is why gaming is going downhill. Because of fanboys like you. The reason why Sony don't make games no more, because of fanboys like you. If Sony would even remotely, which they are, copy Microsoft and then the slightest, they would be doing far better. Because Microsoft just single-handedly cut into that with all those third-party manufacturers, and they're going to be making boxes under their name and logo, not yours, which is only going to mean that there's going to be less Sony products than they're going to be Xboxes. Well, it's still not an Xbox. It's made by Samsung. That was made by Hitachi. That's made by Sanyo. That means there's going to be more Xboxes than you. But hey, they're not getting it, man. But like I said, take care. Peace out.